This is one of the wilder things that we will talk about today. If not the wildest thing we're going to talk about today. You guys remember that Amazon did a remake of Roadhouse. And you know what? I thought it was fun.
It was.
I had a good time with it. And I thought it was very appropriate that in bringing it into today's setting, they used MMA as the background and Jake Gyllenhaal as a failed UFC fighter and all that kind of stuff. And I had fun with it. Was it perfect? No. Was it better than the original? Hell no. But it was a really fun little movie and I enjoyed it. And then you guys might remember there was drama. K-drama, if you will.
K-pop drama.
But the director of the film, Doug Liman, out of nowhere, announced that he wasn't going to promote the film. He wasn't even going to go to the premiere, although he did end up showing up. But he wasn't even going to go to the premiere. None of this kind of stuff, because they had promised him, according to him, Amazon had promised him this was going to be a theatrical release. Turns out, part of his contract's compensation was based on box office returns. And they had promised him they would do a theatrical release for it. And then they didn't. They put it straight to Amazon and he said, F you. And he's kind of separated himself from the film, which again is too bad because I thought he did a pretty darn good job on that film. Well, we know that Amazon is now doing a sequel. I think they're already filming. And they've got Jake Gyllenhaal back and it's a sequel to the one they just did. But hold the phone. Liken unto Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Dante's Superior.
White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen is superior.
Doug Liman, according to this report in Deadline, is making his own Roadhouse 2. Only it's not a sequel to his Amazon one. It's a direct sequel to the original Patrick Swayze one. Going to be called Roadhouse 2 Dylan.
Got your ass.
And so now we have 2 Roadhouse sequels being made.
Nice.
Now, here's...
Nice.
Now, if you are sitting there asking yourself, how the hell could there be 2 sequels being made at the same time? Well, it's a very interesting story.
It is.
You guys might remember that recently, we talked about on the show a couple years ago, but this thing has passed where a creator of a property, as long as they weren't under the employ of a studio while they were doing it, if some screenwriter just on their own wrote a script for something and sold the rights, the movie rights to it, they can get their rights back to that movie after what?
35 years.
35 years.
It reverts back to them.
The rights revert back to the original creator. Again, as long as they weren't an employee of the studio.
Has to be a spec script.
Has to be spec,
Original.
something that they wrote on their own and then just kind of farmed out the rights to it, right? So the original writer is saying, hey, the rights have come back to me. I own the rights to this. Amazon is arguing that, well, no, you were a at-will employee of the studio. He's saying, no, I wasn't. I wrote a spec script. So now there's this battle about who actually has the rights to it. So where does Doug Liman come in? Well, Doug Liman knows the original writer of the original Roadhouse. And he has acquired the rights from that writer to do a true sequel to the original Roadhouse. So not only, this is drama, this is layered drama. Because not only do we have Doug Liman giving the big double FUs to Amazon saying, I'm going to make my own, there's also a legal drama going on about who's even got the rights to do these things. This is one of the crazier scenarios I have seen come up in movie world in a while. And, you know, a friend of mine sent me the link to this yesterday and said, this smells like a conflict, whatever. I said, no, this smells like spite. Spite, my friends, with a dash of vengeance is being put in there by Doug Liman. Now, look, as an outsider looking in, Justin in the live chat just said, please both come out on the same day. Please both come out on the same day. I want to see the Jake Gyllenhaal sequel.
I do too.
I kind of also want to see this Doug Liman Roadhouse Dylan sequel.
I do too.
So now would this be in modern day with Dylan's child now all grown up? Would this be set back in the 80s with a new actor, maybe Glenn Powell, coming in to reprise the role of Dylan to pick up the torch for Patrick Swayze? I don't know, but I'm interested. This is a lot of hot drama and I'm here for it. Anyway, Rob, you saw this story. What make heads or tails? What's going to happen here?
Well, first of all, there's a lawyer who's, I think he's mentioned in this story, named
Yes, he is.
Mark Toberoff, who specializes in this. He was involved in the Friday the 13th case
That's
for
right.
Victor Miller.
Yep.
In that case, so the rights to the original Friday the 13th script that he wrote on spec that Sean Cunningham made reverted back to him. But the thing is that Jason Voorhees that we know and love does not appear in the original Friday the 13th.
That's right.
With the hockey mask. So who owns it? That's why they can make a Crystal Lake series that A24 is making.
By the way, let me just interject here because I think it'll go to your point. One of our viewers just made an excellent comparison. Mikey Dreamer. I don't know if you can find this one, Jonathan. Mikey Dreamer is saying, so this is similar to the 1983 with Never Say Never Again and Octopussy releasing in the same year. I think that is a very astute observation. There are many similarities to that.
Now, the difference with that was Kevin McClory, who was producing the first Bond movie that was developed was Thunderball. And Albert Broccoli and another producer named Kevin McClory were teamed up on that. But they didn't end up making that first. The Broccoli's and Harry Saltzman made Dr. No, but then they made Thunderball's the fourth and first widescreen Bond film. But Kevin McClory was a producer on that movie. And he fought over the rights to Spectre. That's why they couldn't use Spectre for so long. And it was a battle that Kevin McClory fought against the Broccoli's forever until he died. But that's a very apt comparison. But so if you think about it, 20th Century Fox at one point was going to make a Jack Bauer, John McClane 24 Die Hard crossover.
Right.
But it was thwarted by the rights issues. Predator was another thing that Toberoff was involved in because the rights to the original Predator reverted back to the writers. And when they made Prey, it couldn't be a theatrical release. That's why it was on Hulu. But they've figured out those rights. So Toberoff is a shark, man, and he does this all the time. But what I find really interesting about this, in the article it says that the writer of Roadhouse, he has what's called a loan-out company. So, like I have a loan-out company. I get paid through my loan-out company. Well, they're trying to say that the rights to Roadhouse, well, you didn't write it on spec. You wrote it for your loan-out company. No, I wrote that. What, I wrote it for myself? I'm my loan-out company.
Yeah.
So they're playing some shenanigans, and Toberoff will come in. That guy's a bull in a china shop. He will make sure that those rights, he's a master of that. He's like the Jedi Knight of getting but studios won't let it happen. So Liman has a legit claim. I think they have a legit claim that they can go and make that Roadhouse movie, and they will defeat Amazon if there's a legal battle, because he did write it, and he did write it on spec, and it was acquired by a studio. He did not write it under the auspices of a studio.
Well, here's the thing, though. The repercussions of that, though, keep going. It's not just about Liman having the right to make this other movie. If a court decides that they do, guess who doesn't have a right to make their movie?
Right.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon's going to have to write, either scrap the whole thing and write it all off, or they're going to have to write a big juicy check to this guy to say, okay, can we please continue making our movie? Because it could be, this could get real messy.
And because the Roadhouse remake was done before the rights reverted back, I believe, to the original writer. So the original Roadhouse, it hadn't been 35 years yet. So Amazon was able to make their first movie. So now it's a mess. Do you know that this guy, Mark Toberoff, when Warner Brothers made the Dukes of Hazzard feature film, Dukes of Hazzard was based on either an indie movie.
When you refer to that movie, Rob, you also have to use the word masterpiece.
Okay.
Just please make sure you remember that.
But Warner Brothers got effed because Toberoff came in and said, you did not go and get the underlying rights to the movie that the Dukes of Hazzard TV show was based on. Because no one knew it was based on a movie.
Right.
And Toberoff, he came in and He got a lot of money from that. That guy's a shark, but this is a really interesting case. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. I'm excited.
So-
I love stuff like this.
This is so good.
It's crazy. I mean, to quote Paradise, Doug Liman was like, "You should have let me have the Wii."
You should have just let me have it. This
Now,
is
now they're gonna have to pay the writer, and they have
Nice reference.
Yep. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? We don't just have one Roadhouse sequel in development right now. We got two of them. Maybe one, maybe none. I don't know. The drama here is delicious. Whatever you guys make of all this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.